All right, hi everyone. I'm so sorry for the delay. I started the meeting, but it looked like it didn't really start. So, anyways, I finally figured out what I was doing wrong. Um, so just give me maybe 2 more minutes. I see more participant are coming in, so I'm just letting him in, and then we'll get started. Okay. Right, so I think we can get started. Uh, so we So today we have Benin Saffo with us, and so Benin is a former product manager at IBM, and Benin she's has a passion for uh, product management and leading. Uh, leading passion about improving and building product and building diverse team. And Benin is also the CMO at the Black Product Managers Network, where she is actively helping and empowering those in her community. But I would let her take the table and really present herself and what she's been doing and talk to you about product management.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that introduction. I would ask, it would be lovely to see you all's faces. I know it can be weird to come off of camera, but would love to see your faces if you're able to share your 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 screen. So thank you to the Society of Women Coders for allowing me to come and speak to you all today. I'm going to give a quick presentation on product management and, kind of share a little bit about my journey. So I should be able to share my screen, right?
Yes, you can share your screen.
All right, give me 1 second. Let's see here. No, not share like that. Present. Where's present? Right here. Okay, let's tap in. So again, I'm going to give a quick overview of product management. I really want this to be conversational. So, if anyone has any questions while we're going through this, feel free to kind of like stop me and, we can make this interactive. So a quick little kind of like recap of who I am. So again, my name is Benin Saffo. I went to school at Florida A&M University. It's the HBCU in Tallahassee, Florida. One of the greatest bands in the land. That's why I have a picture of our Marching 100. Prior to graduating and kind of joining the corporate world, I was an intern at Pepsi. And that really was kind of like the starting stumping ground of me kind of exploring what it is that I wanted to do and figuring out, like, at the time I was a like supply chain production operations intern, and I really kind of like took the language and verbiage of that role and kind of articulated and matched that to what I do now in product today in terms of finding me a job. I always kind of put my golf picture here because at one point I thought I was going to be a professional golfer. At FAM we had this thing called Title IX where they traded our girls bowling team for golf. So I've been playing ever since I was like 5 years old. My grandfather taught me, and just kind of put that in there because I played out in college as well. So upon graduating, I did join IBM through a Blue Spark Leadership Collegiate Program at the time. They were building their product organization. And so at the bottom is kind of like a little 3-picture description of kind of like what that encapsulated in the last 4 years, everything through ideating and doing sticky notes on the board. And a picture on the right is with me on my team with visual recognition back in our Watson days. And then kind of like, it's funny, that was the last picture in the middle I actually took at the office last year when IBM did another mention on me for Women's Month. And I didn't think that was going to be like my last time in the office, but it was before kind of Corona took over. Okay, so what is product management? Does anybody have an idea of what it is or wants to come off mute and ask or share what their thoughts of what it might be if you've heard of anything? Anyone?
It's maybe like to come up with the let's say one idea so that you can pursue it in real life by designing it, to make it till the end. Like,
Yeah, no, that's a great response. What's your name?
Wazira.
Vazira. Yeah, thanks for sharing. I think that's really spot on. Anybody else have an idea of what it is or wants to share? Okay. Vazira was right on. So I kind of like think of product as being like a CEO of a little business, right? Or a big business, whichever one you subscribe to. But product managers are really responsible for coming up with, like she said, like the ideation process of thinking about what problems that you really want to solve and making sure that your team is shifting that into a winning market. The markets that are always not winning, but I think it's just good to, aim for it, knowing the best landscape to kind of deliver the solution you want out to the world for the problem you're trying to solve. And so one thing I think sometimes people kind of get confused about, I put CEO here, but product managers don't always necessarily have the authority of the people that they're working with. So what I mean by that, you can have a fully stacked team of product managers that you work with that you might have some direct reports, and you may not. You might just be an individual contributor. And then you work with other stakeholders like developers, or another word for that is engineers, design, marketing, salespeople, and even a new role that's developed over time called customer success managers, which really helps retain customers and products that they might, brought in from you all in different kind of business models. And so I just keep in mind that we are definitely that centerfold piece that makes sure the product comes to life from the end-to-end life cycle of its development. So who do PMs work with? I kind of touched on that a little bit briefly, but we work with a lot of different XFN partners, and really those are like cross-functional teams, as I mentioned. We are super empathetic, or that's our goal at least, to love our customers, really understand their pain points, whatever it is that the problem we're trying to solve, just really making sure that we are designing not for solutions and building for solutions, but building for the people in the problem. And, we're really, our main focus is making sure that we remove bottlenecks and making sure that, we're building a team culture that, will resemble the problems that we're trying to solve with the people that we work with. So just at a high level, these are kind of like some of the things that we really think about when it comes to the job day to day, right? Like we can very much take a lot of things that are unorganized, that are kind of chaotic. And as Vaziar mentioned, like really get down to ideating and thinking about the concepts and things that we need to do to work together with our team and other stakeholders to take complexity issues and problems, do tons of research, right? And then kind of evaluate where are the different areas that we want to go to be able to ship this product, right? A lot of times when it comes to being a product manager, I think you all may or may not know this, but if you were to decide to go in this field, like there's kind of 3 different stages that we evaluate really what makes a great product manager and how they can kind of grow and excel in their career. It's really like that first part when you come into a role, and I'll talk a little bit about this, but being able to just ship and get things done. And when we say ship, like just delivering things, right? And, you think of a product as, I don't know, like your iPhone, right? Like this is something that Steve Jobs had a vision to really kind of transform the world, right? And we think about, I'm just looking at my phone here. You think about this as a product, right? And from the start, I'm sure we had like flip phones. I might be a little older than you all, but like we had pagers, like telecommunication products were really kind of old school back in the day and really have changed over time in the last 2 decades. And so really kind of evaluating and making trade-offs, right, to prioritize what it is that we need to ship at different times times throughout, a life cycle. So we call this like milestone mapping, or, creating your roadmap. So really making sure you have that structured thinking. And then kind of like that next stage is like putting it out right in the market. So this can be in like a closed and beta environment. This could be like, when we mean closed beta, like, so it's not generally available with pricing attached to it, but it's something we can put and invite customers to test out to validate if we're on the right direction, right? If this is something that we can see being done in the future. So just to give you a quick synopsis, take this number with a grain of salt. I think product is definitely one of those growing roles that is trending in the tech industry and a lot of other industries, as well as a hot commodity, a place where you can have a lot of security and, make a good, decent living. And I think this just kind of varies depending on what state you're in, but I think it's a good figure to know, and just to research further depending on where you're located and what you're specifically working on. Kind of just to give you a little glimpse of kind of the trajectory. So this is something I built back in a slide when I was working at IBM, but like this is kind of like for the corporate path. I should have kind of showed a demonstration if you're not interested in working a 9-to-5 job, kind of like the other areas you can work in and grow in a path in, but I'll touch on that after explaining this. So generally, I think we could talk about this more too when we're on the Q&A part, but I'm assuming that you all are kind of between the last couple of years of high school and some of you all may be in college. And so depending on where you study, I just kind of put a bunch of stuff here at the bottom. You can kind of go and get experience in product from a lot of different backgrounds. So I have a physics bachelor's of science. Everybody doesn't have to be technical, right? I've worked with product managers that, major in psychology or communications or journalism, art, computer science, engineering. So you can have a well-versed background and don't necessarily have to be in tech. Usually most programs now have an associate product manager program where you're really coming straight out of college or with little to no experience. And it's really kind of like that fundamental basics of what it means to be a product manager. I kind of spoke upon this last slide about really just working on how to deliver and execute and build solutions in a timely manner. After that, you kind of get promoted to a general kind of PM role. That's still kind of within that 3 to 5 year career range, experience range. And then after that, you're more of a senior PM and up. And so senior PM and like more of the principal kind of director level product managers, they really focus on the strategy and just understanding the big business objectives of the companies that you work with to make sure not that you're just only shipping products, right? But you're really winning in the market, you're scaling, you're kind of really growing it at an exponential rate to make sure that, the company and objective is like really surpassing the goals that you all had when you created like the initial steps of the product. So this is just a glimpse. I think just something that's not on this slide that I should also speak on. If you're not interested in the route or you didn't go to college, right? Some things that I always tell people, how can they really make themselves look as if they've had product experience or something to speak, is making sure that you have some kind of ownership in things that you all can build, right? I think there are a lot of talented folks out here these days, and you don't necessarily have to have gone to college to, be successful in a product career. That's not me saying don't go to college, but I'm saying like, there's other funnels and ways. And even too, if you don't want to be in the corporate industry, like there's a lot of entrepreneurial programs people enroll in these days. They can get a lot of funding to kind of start their own companies. And, there are a lot of other routes like I said, being a founder, maybe going into venture capital, even music. A lot of people kind of go into the media entertainment world. So there's a lot of options if you don't feel as like the traditional 9-to-5 tech kind of Silicon Valley route is where you want to be. So I see this is not fitting the screen, but I kind of mentioned on this. So you don't really need a technical degree. I think this is something that's really misconstrued when it comes to product management, that you have to have a technical background. I think there's a lot of things that people should just kind of do research on to just make sure you really have the skills needed, right? And skills are like, you really know how to think, you really know how to work with others, you really know how to make trade-offs and understand, prioritization. You're really good with data. What I mean by that is like, you know how to make metrics. You're really good with analytics and understanding numbers and understanding how to like project certain kind of user behaviors. There's a lot of skills too that you can kind of like just Google and like YouTube and learn on your own, but by no means do you feel like you have to code and like, have some kind of high skill set around tech. So I'm assuming, once again, this is kind of like the stage you're at. You're either upon in college, figuring out what major you want, how to kind of like make the most of like your collegiate years, or even in high school, trying to figure out what college you want to go to and what you want to major in upon graduating and coming into still full time. So kind of like the things that I tell people are really thinking about what are the things that you want to do, and during this time frame, like how to make yourself really stand out, finding those internships that's going to make you really kind of get you exposed to the things that you think you might want to do later on once you get into the corporate world. Product is a career path that I don't think a lot of institutions have adopted yet. I think they're slowly kind of building that curriculum around what is product, what kind of courses and skills, once again, you need to take to make sure you can execute upon graduation. But I really would kind of like test the waters, do research. Also, after this call, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn if you have any questions, if we want to do like another fireside chat where you all can just ask me questions, I'm happy to do that as well. Because really it's about just building your own personal brand and just making sure that you're equipped to know what's needed of you before graduating. So I'm kind of done. Whatever it is that you want to do, whether it's product or not, I would just say own it. As women, a lot of times it can be very scary to just, jump right into something, whether you have the skills or not. I know also like being in this pandemic doesn't make things always necessarily easier. I think we're all just figuring out like what suits us the best. I definitely love product management. It's probably one of the best I think career choices, roles, experiences I've had, and I've still am growing. I am part of a Black product managers network, and we're really focused on making sure that all people of color really have the resources, the network, community, and skills it is that they can level up and kind of like take their careers to the next level. So yeah, I'll stop here and, open it up for questions if anyone has any.
Yeah, thank you so much for your presentation. I'm sorry, like for the noisy background, and cannot turn on the video on right now. But the thing is, like, I have a question. Here you have highlighted regarding the LinkedIn. Yeah, I'm also like very freshman and creating LinkedIn accounts. So like how do you think we can find the, let's say, job proposals from LinkedIn, or like any other people we have to contact, like in Uzbekistan, like where I'm from, who don't really use it at all. Just have heard like from such kind of like programs like Society of Women Coders and many more. So I don't know, like how do we get it? Can you please tell us a little bit about it?
About LinkedIn and how you can kind of make yourself more
in product management.
Yeah. So let me see if I can bring up my LinkedIn real quick. Let's see here. I have so many tabs open. Sorry. Just to kind of do like a live demo. So okay. So LinkedIn is one of those platforms that it's super customizable, and it should be very easy for you to kind of like tell the world what you want about, what you want them to know about yourself, right? So the goal here for them is really trying to create, economic opportunity for people to find jobs, network, and people in their professional network. So first, kind of like if I were you, obviously like all this information is based off, in terms of other people seeing it, is based off of like how many people are following you and stuff like that, right? But really, I think one of the main keys of how you can strengthen your profile and get that visibility of people like checking your profile and things like that is the profile strength, right? So really kind of like focusing on what's here in your header information, right? Like, you know, if you're what year did you say you're in high school or first year in college?
A freshman at the university.
Okay, so like you could put like I wouldn't necessarily put freshman, right? Like, because some people think, okay, you just got to school, you're still trying to figure it out, but you could put like college student seeking college student seeking product opportunities, right? Put that in your header here so people know like, oh, okay, this is someone who's seeking product opportunities. Because usually what recruiters do, they type in like product managers. That's what they're doing. You know, if they have like a recruiter account, they're typing in product managers and they're usually going to see these three things. And if you're someone in the people, right, you're going to just come up here because all these people have product in their titles, right? And so that's how I get a lot of inbound messages from people because I have it as the first thing that's in my title. So that's just one thing, right? Because I'm assuming here you don't have experience, right? Like what you do is kind of like create that bio of what it is that you're doing. You say your name. I'm an incoming freshman at XYZ University. I'm really looking for a product opportunity that can help me further expand my skill set or my knowledge, right? You can say things like apprenticeship. So there's a lot of programs that you can get paid, but an apprenticeship is a program that you can like still get hands-on experience, but you won't get paid, right? It's kind of like a full opportunity to get exposure, so to speak. But like just listing skills that you're good at. So if you're a really good communicator, which it sounds like you really are, just highlight your strong suits. And if you have any experience that you can kind of like tie here, add that here. I mean, just kind of make yourself look. Another thing I would tell people to do, if you were really active in like high school or something, or if you were like the president of an organization or you volunteer, kind of just go, do I have here, like make your own domain name, right? Like, I'm just putting your name here for an example. Whatever your last name is, that's probably what is better to add, right? Because it seems like that domain, but make your own personal website, right? Make it where people can find information about you and you can kind of start creating your portfolio of who you are. Because I think that's one of the hardest things people always ask, well, how can I break into product? People really want to see what you've done. What have you built? And that's the credibility that people know that they can trust you and that you've done something, right? And that's a little hard to do when you're just coming into college.
Yeah, oh my God, thank you so much. That was very informative that
You're
I
welcome.
could understand.
Yeah,
So
but just
much.
try to fill this out and like, before you know it. And I think also too, like when you go to jobs, like something I was doing back in the day when I was in college is like, looking for internships in product. And you can see things that are like, so there's another thing called like product marketing. I didn't talk about that today, but basically product marketing is really essentially the thing that supports what the product manager does. So everything from the marketing, performance metrics, the campaigns that you see like Facebook and Google, Airbnb, like some of these major corporations, Peloton, all the things you see on TV, those are done by marketing folks, but it's supported by the product, or they support the product managers, in the team. So yeah, I would just kind of like go and look up internships. You can kind of see, you can type these and tailor it to the companies you're interested in. They'll give you the requirements, how much experience you see. Like sometimes it says you're only a junior, but really kind of go through this. And like, just what I do too is like create me an Excel sheet of all the jobs that I'm interested in. And, I see the status of like emails and people's names that I could potentially get in contacted with. Like they usually have that, like the people who are connected, like connections, right? So you're looking at people in your network, or they'll show you people that work there. And like, don't be afraid to cold email people, right? Like I think one of the things, and like one of my mentors always used to tell me, use your age to your advantage, right? You're young, but the more assertive you are, like you got to understand like how much competition is out right these days. And the more assertive you are to kind of let people know that you're ready to take a chance and risk, regardless of how young you are, regardless if you're a woman, of, you know, your ethnicity and background, whatever the case might be, like people really like that. So just don't be afraid to like make yourself stand out.
Yeah. Thank you so much once more. Sincerely appreciate it.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Come on.
Or maybe like there is one more question. Like, have you got any offers like from LinkedIn regarding the product management like positions?
Yeah, so like I said, they usually call like the in-mail. So it's funny because I won't say 99, but like I'll say over 75% of the people who reach out to me that are interested to like give me a job opportunity, I've connected with them over LinkedIn. So, you know, like that profile build is very, you know, valuable to me, to the people who are looking to employ people. Yes, I will say like obviously to like my network helps, but like the SEO there, like I said, making sure that you're really focused on customizing your header and how you want people to search for you is very important, because yeah, LinkedIn has definitely been one of those things that I've gotten jobs or people that are interested to like hire me and give me a job opportunity because, you know, they found me through LinkedIn. So absolutely.
Wow, that's actually very impressive. I didn't
Yeah.
really expect such numbers because like I usually see people use LinkedIn, but don't see really the ones who get the offers like from LinkedIn. That's why.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, let me just make sure I'm clear. So when you say offer, do you mean like you start working for the company or like,
Yeah.
yeah. So there's two things. So like you might get an invitation for someone to like reach out to you and say, hey, we really think you'll be a great PM for Gucci. I'm just making something up. Okay. And like Gucci will email you and have your name and say, you know, we're looking for X, Y, and Z, and we think you'll be a great fit. Would you be interested to, you know, explore the opportunity for further, right? And so you have the opportunity to click into that and say yes or no, you know, respond back to them. And then you know, then the conversation is held offline. You all set up your meeting, etc. Now, whether you decide to go through the process or whether you end up getting the opportunity, that's a little bit different, right? I think when we see people posting on LinkedIn and stuff, when they've accepted the offer, they might have gotten it through LinkedIn, meaning like the recruiter found them through LinkedIn, or, you know, they might have been given the opportunity through word of mouth, or the person might have just like applied online. So there's a lot of different ways that people can get opportunities. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, it really does. Thank
Okay.
you once more.
You're welcome. Anybody else have a question? Kyra, I'm start calling on you all. I know you all thinking questions.
Maybe I have a question.
Okay.
So so you know, as entrepreneurs, like if you're talking about like an entrepreneur side of it, where you technically you have an idea and so you have like you have so many things to, like, let's say for a nonprofit, so you somehow building a product too, but you have so many things that you want to do as a, so to bring in that product management skills, so how would you say is the best way to approach to kind of like manage all these ideas and launch it the best way possible?
Yeah. So one thing about being a product person, like usually most people who like are founding their companies might have been a product manager prior like in their past experience. I would say one thing is like being organized, which is something I still have trouble with, honestly. Like making sure things are organized and like you're managing your time effectively. Because if you're founding a company or if like you are trying to build something, you have to be very structured in what you do, right? So one of the things I would recommend is like getting you a management tool, right? There's tons of them out there. I mean, Trello, uh, AHA, Airtable. There's so many different kind of management tools that you can just kind of organize what it is that you're working on. I even do this for my personal life too. So it's not just like business stuff. Like I also use it to like just manage my day to day. But then too, it's kind of like going further. And we talked about this in the past of like just prioritizing the things you want to get done. So for your organization, right, it's like, okay, what are the goals, right? Like I always tie it to the goal. If the mission of the company is to help young women from underrepresented, backgrounds exceed in tech or whatever it is, I'm just making this up, sorry. You want to make sure whatever you're doing is tying back to that goal. And so you break off different parts of that goal to make sure that you are still achieving it, right? And so like you said, if you're trying to build a product internally, the product can be anything down to services. I don't think I touched on this, but products range all over. It can be a physical product, we call these consumer goods, or it could be like a service, it could be a program, you know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of different types of products you can have. But I think it's really just making sure that you understand the problem you're trying to solve and making sure that you're mapping out the different deliverables you need to achieve different milestones within that project, or the milestone that you're trying to achieve. That's very hard. I know that sounds like a little simple. Did I answer your question?
Yes, you did.
Okay. But yeah, it really just kind of goes down to the structure and making sure that
Thank you.
it's organized. Yeah.
Does anyone else has any more questions before we part ways with Benin?
No questions for now, but it was amazing, like brief, but a very good like talk and presentation. And we'll get contacts on LinkedIn, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. Please connect with me. I'll be looking out for your name and information. Yeah. It starts here.
Yeah, make sure to include a note that you've met her to the Soul Coders workshop, so she knows how you're connecting with her.
Yeah, this was great. Yeah, feel free to reach out to me. If I might be a little slow, please forgive me in advance. Like my inbox and just life is crazy, but I'll make sure I'll respond. You all have my information. So, if you ever want to do this again, feel free to let me know. We'll love to see, more of you all next time. And yeah, I just will say, stay strong. You have a lot ahead of you. Pace yourself. Make sure you just don't, stress out. Yeah, I mean, women, we are the best creatures on the planet. And so the more you realize that and kind of just stand strong in confidence, everything else will work out. So that's my 2 cents for today.
Completely agree. Well, thank you, Benin. Thanks for joining us and taking the time to speak with our student. We did record the session, so anybody who were not able to join us due to the timeline, the time difference, then they will be seeing this recording as we sharing it in a little bit.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, again, it was a pleasure to you and the team. Really appreciate you all for putting this together. Yeah, and just look forward to, the next time, and hope everyone that didn't get to see it, if you watch it, you enjoy it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.